agrochemical, something, those who commit suicide by taking in some dangerous chemicals. Uh-huh. We might not classify them as medicines, or I don't think the layperson will call that a drug, because we know that we are taking our drugs or medicines to get well. So the let me say the average person might not call that DDT or agrochemical or acid as a drug, because he or she thinks that it's not going to cure her disease or something. But it is a drug. It's a drug because it can cause a change in your body. But the pharmaceutical drug here is classified, or yes, that is what we call medicine. For that one, we have an intention of using them to gain something positive. So I don't know if I'm making myself clear here. The poisons is also a broader word. Um, we can, as I say, we can classify all the other chemicals that you can think about, all the dangerous things you can think about, things that you think we cannot take in as human beings or can be harmful to us as human beings, could be classified under poisons. But when we come to the pharmaceutical drug, here we are moving towards medicine or medication, because we have a particular intention of promoting health. So I'm taking in this medicine like paracetamol, like uh, Magacid, like anti-malarials, to promote my well-being. So that one, it is clearer to all of us when we say, oh, this is my medicine. Uh, and then talking about drugs too, let's say cocaine and marijuana, weed, those chemicals or substances that people smoke and all that. I don't think anybody will classify that as a medicine or drugs. If you are fond of using the term drugs for your medicines, like some of us, I don't think you will feel
Mm.
comfortable using that term for cocaine or weed. But in the scientific world, it is a drug, because when you take it, it gives you a different feeling. It causes some damages in your body. So it is a drug. So the line is, some people, let's say most health workers, call medications, medicines drug, because we know that it does this in our body, it causes some change in our body. But when we say medicine, then we are really making ourselves clearer to the ones that we are given in the hospital or we find in the pharmacies, or the ones we take for our diseases and for well-being.
Thank you very much. Now, let's go into this whole rational use of drugs. When you talk about rational use of drugs, I'm wondering, what does that mean?
So, as the term itself suggests, like rational, um, doing something right or in its right frame. So, it just talks about how best we can use medications. Now I'm using medicines, but you can see that
Okay.
the experts said drugs and not just medicine, because we consider medicines or medications as drugs too. That's why we are using the mother word. Yeah. So, but I can, when I use medicines and drugs here, I'm talking about as in medicine, the ones that we take. So let's just bear that in mind for now. So when we talk about rational use of drugs or medicines, we are just talking about
Mm-hmm.
how well or the right ways to use medicines in order to achieve the purpose for it, in order to feel better, have relief from our diseases without any stress at all. When I say stress here, I'm talking about um, even um, economic wise or monetary wise. So rational use of drugs aim at we taking medications which are appropriate to our needs, which will help us cure our diseases, so that at the end of the day, we go back to our perfect well-being. And the WHO has a very nice definition for it, which says that rational use of drugs requires that patients receive medications appropriate to their clinical needs in doses that meet their own individual requirements for an adequate period of time and at the lowest cost to them and their community. So, looking at this definition, it has four main points, and I would want to go into them a bit. The first point is patients receive medications appropriate to their clinical needs. So, let's say I'm not feeling well, I go to the hospital, I'm diagnosed of malaria, or the doctor says I have malaria. Everyone expects that I'll be given an anti malaria drug and nothing else. So if I go, I have malaria and I'm giving, let's say, a medication for typhoid, I'm not really following the rules for rational use of medicines. So I have to get the right medication for the right disease. The second point says in doses that meet their own individual requirements. It's saying that I have to get the medication in the quantity that will help heal my sickness or that will help control the disease totally. So, if I'm given an antibiotic and for the disease that I went to the hospital with, I'm supposed to take the medication for, let's say, 7 days, and I take it for 5 days, I'm not having the right dose. Or let's say I'm having hypertension, high blood pressure, and I'm given a drug, a 5 milligram of, let's say, amlodipine. It's an example of hypertensive drug. While I needed 10 milligram, I'm not. We are not practicing rational use of drugs here. We are not really being rational with the medication because the 5 milligram will not help control my situation or help cure my disease. So somebody might need five, somebody might need 10. So, in practicing or following the rational use of drugs, we have to check all that. That is this dose right for this patient? The fact that somebody takes five doesn't mean I should take 10. And the third point is for an adequate period of time. How long should I take this medicine to get well? I was talking about antibiotics if I take it for 5 days instead of 7 days. The right period of time for me was 7 days, but I got tired of my medicine and I took just for 2 days because I thought I was feeling better. People do that a lot with anti-malarials. When I'm shivering, I have headache and all that, I start taking my malaria medicine today, tomorrow, and I think I'm better. I just stop taking it. While I've been told to take it for 3 days. If I do that, there is something wrong. Like I'm not really taking my medications well. And the fourth point says at the lowest cost to them and their community. Yes. Um, Total well-being or primary health care looks at money, the cost that we put into healthcare. Um, if we really look at it, healthcare is supposed to be achieved without stress. I should be able to achieve healthcare without selling all my things or finding it difficult to get the medication. But because of a whole lot of things, it's not easy buying medicines and paying medical bills. But WHO says that to practice rational use of drugs, we have to make sure that the medicine we are giving to the patient is affordable. Like it should be the lowest cost. If there is a medicine or a drug which is um, cheaper and will give maximum benefit, we shouldn't give a patient the highest cost of drug because of money or anything. So WHO gives this nice definition here. And this says that, or this means that rational use of drugs um, is centered around six main points. Yeah, and if you forget anything at all, because we all walk in to buy medicines at pharmacies and other places. So we have to just put this at the back of our mind so that whenever we want to get medications or whenever we are given medicines to take, we take them well for our own well-being. So there are 6 rights that surrounds rational use of drugs. And it says the right medication for the right condition. Condition here is the disease or the sickness. So I'm starting again. The right medication for the right condition, for the right patient, in the right dose or quantity, at the right time. That is the period of time I'm supposed to take the drug, and then at the right cost. So if um, from the 6 rights, we are saying that the right medication for the right condition. So I have my anti-malaria for my malaria disease for the right patient. Okay, am I the one suffering from malaria? And what is my age? Or can a female take a malaria drug that is for the right patient? Am I the right patient for this medication? Because some medications are for men only, some medications are for females only. So I cannot give a prostate drug, a drug for prostate cancer to a lady because females do not have prostate and a female cannot suffer from prostate cancer. So when I'm giving the medication, I have to know, is this medication appropriate to this person? And then in the right dose or quantity. Does a person need 5 milligram or 10 milligram? If it's a child, can I give the adult dose to the child? Sometimes at home, when children have fever and all that, parents want to start first aid, or even ourselves, when we as adults, when we are having some conditions, we want to start first aid. We have to really be critical about the dose we are giving. If it's a child, we cannot give the dose that we take to the child. And if you have to give the child any medicine, we have to really check the dose, that this amount or quantity I'm giving to the child, is it okay? If it's paracetamol, as an adult, I'm taking 2. Can I give my 13-year-old daughter 2 tablets also, or should I give 1? How should I go about it? We have to have all this in mind. And then at the right time or the right period, the right time, can I take this medication in the morning? There are some medications you should not take them at night. Some hypertensive drugs, you can't take them at night because it will disturb your sleep. And when you don't have good sleep, we know the consequences. It has its own consequences. So some medication should be taken in the morning, or the intervals between the drugs. I cannot say I miss my malaria dose in the morning. So in the evening, should I add the 2? Or I was asked to take 1, then after 8 hours, I take another 1. But I just ignore, oh, it is just morning and evening, so I'll take morning and evening. No, something will be going wrong inside you, but you might not notice it immediately. So the time is also very critical. And then at the right cost, at the right cost. The cost shouldn't be so overburdened. So when we go to the hospitals and the pharmacies, we are trying to get medications and there are cheaper ones. We can ask, are they equally effective? Or if there are health workers listening to me, we shouldn't overburden patients with high cost because we want to make sales or anything. We have to make sure that they are getting the best at the lowest cost, because when you are spending too much money, that alone also affects your health. Yeah. So rational use of drugs talks about all these things that I have mentioned, and the 6 rights summarizes it very nicely. The right medication for the right conditions, for the right patient, in the right dose, at the right time, and at the right cost. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you very much. Someone made a statement. A certain wise man made a statement. He says that we are all faith people, because while you go to a doctor, you don't know who prescribes medication for you that you don't understand. You can't even read the writing. You go to a pharmacy shop and meet a pharmacist whom you don't know from anywhere, and the pharmacy reads the handwriting that you don't understand, and the pharmacist also does give you some medication and you believe that taking what has been given to you, you are going to be well. As you were talking about the six rights, for me, the one that I find myself guilty of is that malaria, something that you were talking about. You do it for 1 day, 2 days, and then I feel, oh, I'm getting better. And because I'm getting better, I want to forget about the dose. That suggests to me that, look, this rational use of drugs that we are talking about, then there is the irrational, and there are probably causes to the irrational use of drugs. And I see from your explanation that it doesn't sit with the patient alone, but somehow some other um, people may also, or some other things may cause the possible irrational use of drugs. Do I get you right?
Yes, yes, please. Exactly, exactly. Um, I think the major cause of irrational use of drugs is with patients or self-medication.
Okay.
Yes, I'll go deeper into it. But
Mm.
as you got it right that there are other people who also contribute to irrational drug use or use of drugs, and that is we health workers. Um, so we can have wrong diagnosis, we can have a prescribing error, and we can have error in dispensing. I would like to touch about them a bit before coming back to self-medication. And wrong
Please go
diagnosis,
ahead. Yeah.
okay, wrong diagnosis comes about when the health worker does not take time to understand the patient's condition, to really get to know what is wrong, or when the patient is not able to explain very well how he or she is feeling. And some patients even exaggerate their situation. When I was in the community pharmacy or pharmacy shop, I had a patient coming in complaining of very severe waist pain. The way she was describing it, I was really getting alarmed because I didn't know what was wrong. I could have just referred her to the hospital. But as I kept quiet and listening to her, her symptoms resembled some pains that females have during ovulation. So I just said, let me just ask and see. So I just asked her, Mommy, are you um, are you entering into your ovulation period? She paused for a while and said, yes, 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 I think so. I think that is what is causing it. That day I almost laughed because she was exaggerating. I said, oh,
I
mommy, but
finished laughing.
ovulation pains are not so severe like you are saying. She said, I didn't want you to give me just paracetamol. So I had to say it was so that you can give me something better. So you see, maybe, and I told her, mommy, what if it is paracetamol you need, that you actually need? She just doesn't want paracetamol. So she didn't want to describe her situation or her condition as just a waist pain or something. She wanted to exaggerate it so that I can give her another painkiller. So sometimes when this happens, I could have just thought it was something else and give her another medication, or I could have referred it to the hospital, something. So sometimes these things bring about wrong diagnosis, and when there are communication barriers, yes, with regards to language, if you do not really understand the terms I'm using to describe my illness, a health worker, may not really get what I'm trying to say. So that also happens. And then prescribing error. Um, Sometimes in writing a medication for a male, we tend to write a drug which is for females only. Some prescriptions
Mm.
have come to the pharmacy where we have to call the doctor again, where when we are able to, when we have the numbers on the prescription, we call to find out, did you really mean this drug for this person? Or sometimes a drug for an elderly person prescribed for a child, and sometimes you have to go back and do some clarifications in order to be sure if that was what was given. So that also happens. And then error in dispensing. Sometimes to those giving out the drug to the patient in the pharmacy or in the dispensary at the hospital can it's either you we um, drugs are mixed, give someone's drug is given to another person, or you might think that this drug, which really looks like paracetamol, is a diabetic drug called metformin. And in the hospitals, they pack all those drugs in their quantities before the patients leave the consulting room so that they don't take too much time taking their drugs. And when you want to take paracetamol and you don't take care, you might take metformin. Or if another person walks
Mm,
in who doesn't know how you've arranged your drugs, the person might pick the wrong medicine for somebody. In some cases, people have to be traced and take and medicines taken from them because wrong medications were given. So those are also causes of irrational drug use because in those cases, you will not be taking the right medication for the right condition, and then you might not be the right patient. And then the major one is self medication. I always say that in Ghana, we are all doctors. Everybody is a doctor, from our grandmothers to the baby who has just started walking. We know what we can take for our disease. So we always want to go to the pharmacy, and some of us don't even want to tell the pharmacist or whoever is there what is wrong, but you just want to say, I want this, I want this, I want that. And sometimes when you ask, they think they are giving you money, so you don't have the right to really question. They think they know, they think they have read, so it's okay. But at the end of the day, uh, people end up doing the wrong things. I have another example. A man walked in to buy antibiotics for his children. Per what he wanted to buy, I could tell that they were babies because the dose that he was mentioning were for babies. And he was buying a lot, so I asked, please, what's wrong with your children? He said, they are my children. I know what's wrong with them. Just give me my medicine. The way the conversation went, I told him, no, I'm not selling the medicine to him unless he tells me what he is buying. So we went back and forth, and then he left. The pharmacy. But unfortunately for him, he went to another pharmacy, and I was there. I was there. I was the person he met. And I told him, "You
oh,
come again." So now he had no choice than to tell me. And I said, "Your children are just coughing. They started coughing just 3 days ago, and you want to give them antibiotics." In Ghana, we are abusing antibiotics a lot. We think that once I have cold, once I'm coughing, I need antibiotic. But sometimes it is just some allergic something. Sometimes it's just a common cough or cold. And the normal cough syrups and cold medications can cure you without you taking antibiotics. And the painful aspect is we take antibiotics, we don't complete it because most of the time it's for 7 days if you are using it for certain treatments for 14 days, and it's a lot of work, so we don't even complete it. And when it happens like that, there is something we call resistance. The microorganisms you are trying to cure, if they are there, will develop resistance because you don't complete your medication. Next time when you really need that medication, you will use it and then it will not work for you. It will work for another person who has not abused it, but because you have been, feeding the bacteria with those medicine and you don't kill them, they, how do we even call it? Let me say they try to reorganize themselves or change certain things to also fight the medication. So next time you take it and it's not working for you, but it's working for somebody. So that is self-medication. And another instance is about um, are painkillers. The way we abuse painkillers. When we go to work, we think we are tired a bit. We just want to take paracetamol. People, some like APC, and now I know people who are taking APC quick action every day. Every day they take
mm,
APC quick action because they are they are now addicted to it. They think we can get addicted to painkillers, especially the ones that contain caffeine and certain ingredients. When you don't have it, you feel you are sick. As soon as you take it, you are fine. That's why some people cannot stop taking Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola contains some caffeine. So when you keep taking, you can get addicted to certain ingredients. So that is about self-medicine. We working in to get medicine. So whenever you go to the pharmacy to get medications, we should talk to, at least even if we know what we want or we know the actual thing, we should just try to get more knowledge. Even me as a pharmacist, when I go to the pharmacy and hospital, I don't tell them I'm a pharmacist. I just tell them what is wrong with me. I listen to what they are giving. If I have questions, I have any doubts, I ask until we are all on the same page, because knowledge is broad and new things come up all the time. There are some drugs that we no longer use. If you go to the pharmacy and you ask for them, everybody will look at you in a certain way. So it's good to always tell health professionals what is wrong with you so that they help you um, choose the right medication. Yes. So these are some of the causes of irrational
Yeah.
drug use.
Thank you very much. As you were just talking about some drugs that are, are no longer in use, I have my favorites. There's this medicine, Malafan.
Yeah, mama.
I mean, it works wonders for me. So anytime I'm not well, I'm just looking for Malafan. And for a long time, I had not been unwell. One time I got unwell and I went in there. I mentioned Malafan. They looked at me and suggesting to me that that is no longer available. Even where they
Actually,
said it's available, it's for some
it's
group
yes.
of people, and I wasn't in that group, so they were not going to sell it
Exactly.
to me or give it to me. So, but that is my favorite. I mean, of all medicines in the whole wide world, Malafan is my favorite. Marianne, Marianne says that, Mom, I can relate well with this issue of wrong prescription by health workers. You know, she can relate when it comes to wrong prescription by health workers. She can, look, I have questions. Okay, I have a lot of questions, but I know members of the community also have some questions for you. So let me give them the opportunity. Please, this is the time. If you have any question for Mrs. AMO-KOI, this is the time to ask the question. You unmute yourself and then you ask your question. If you also have a contribution to make, you have an experience to share, this is the time to unmute yourself and let us also hear you. Tonight, we are talking about the rational use of drugs, the rational use of medicines, and our special guest, our speaker for tonight, Mrs. EVELYN AMO-KOI, a pharmacist by profession, is here taking us through these things that we should be careful about. So Marianne says this, she's continuing her case. You can see she's put it in the chat. He says, I entered a pharmacy one time and met a very young boy in there. I doubt he's a pharmacist because he couldn't even prescribe a drug for menstrual pain. Some pharmacists leave their shops for their children who don't have the capacity. It's a family business. And so maybe the original pharmacist is just stepping out maybe to have a meal, and someone has to come and man the place. And we are sorry, Marianne, that you fell into the hands of this small boy who couldn't even give you what you needed. Please, if you have a question, if you want to make a contribution, you unmute yourself and then you make that contribution or question, you put it out there. You can also put it in the chat. If you are with us on Facebook, you can put that comment or that question in the comment section, and then we'll take it up and let the rest of us hear about it. All right, so one of our listeners has increased your 6 rights.
Okay.
She says now we have 10 rights of
Wow.
medication. We have 10 rights of medication. So Fosti is a nurse, so she's also adding that now we have 10 rights. I wish she could
That's
tell us
wonderful.
the other
Yeah.
4 that we have not captured.
Yeah. She can tell us.
That we have not captured yet. Yeah. So that comment I'm reading out is from our community on Facebook. We have she's joining us from Sefrio. So one of my tutors, we call her Madam Nelly, Madam Nelly Manford. She says, "Good education, keep it up. Friends, if you have any question, you have any contribution, please post it in the chat, or you unmute yourself if you are with us on Zoom. You unmute yourself and then you let us hear your question or your comments. Then we can, let the rest of the world hear what you have to contribute for us. Mrs. AMO-KOI, you were talking about in your explanation of the causes. I heard you mention some particular drugs that we have the tendency of abusing or suffering irrational use of them. I remember you mentioned antibiotics. Is that the only group of medication that we have that problem, or there are other groups of drugs that we have that problem with? You will have to unmute yourself. You are muted.
Sorry, I'm very sorry about that. Okay, so I was
You're
saying that
forgiven.
I was saying that we also have painkillers. I think aside antibiotics, the other major group is painkillers.
Mm,
Talking about people who take quick action and APC all the time. I think I have a slight headache, and I'll just go for paracetamol or Panadol or something. Like, people are just taking painkillers like that when they need to rest, where they need to just take a cold shower, or sometimes it's just an ointment that you need, just something ointment, or if you can afford a massage rather than taking in something. And then some other drugs are the sleeping tablets. I don't know, but now people complain a lot of not being able to sleep. I'm not sure of what is happening, but people really like sleeping tablets. And there is this common one which is not supposed to be sold over the counter. Over the counter meaning you cannot just go in and buy, but you see people coming to the pharmacy and begging whoever is there to give them blue blue. That's the usual name that they come with, blue blue or Valium, if you know it.
mm,
I think it's the commonest sleeping tablet you can hear, or yes. But it is not to be sold over the counter because it is given to a specific people for their conditions. Sometimes
mm,
even to people with mental health, you just want to calm them down, to relax them, and some people with other conditions to help them sleep. When some people have intense pain from due to certain diseases, not just our normal or usual pain, or when you feel like you cannot sleep, you think you are thinking too much, so we should just give you blue blue blue. It has other side effects which could be very detrimental or which you cannot deal with. So we have to check when you are going for sleeping things, drugs that will make us sleep. Now there are other ones in our cough syrups, and even some painkillers come with that. But I think you just have to go for what you need. If you think you cannot sleep, what is causing it? Is there something? If you are thinking too much, what is it? Do you need to talk to somebody? Or have you stayed late for a long time such that you cannot sleep early? You have to really check what is wrong. Sometimes our conditions are not um, things or situations that need medicines. So we have to check other than always wanting to take something in. Yes, you take it in, you get the results you want, but at the end of the day, you get something worse or something that you never even dreamt of.
mm.
Another class of drug is herbal medicines. Herbal
Okay.
medicines. I've put all of them in one category. Now, people talk about herbal medicines a lot, and yes, they are medicines. Um, as FDA, there are lots that we have approved, but people even take them without considering the amount they have to take for their conditions. If I'm taking artemether lumefantrine for malaria, I know I'm taking it for 3 days, two times in a day for 3 days. But herbal medicines, you might need more. And most of us find it difficult taking medication for a long time. So people buy herbal medicines without checking or adhering to the number of days you're supposed to take them. So you buy uh, one herbal medicine, they tell you for malaria, take it for 14 days. Then you take 3 days, you are tired already. So 14 minus 3 means that you've not even gotten anywhere. And then you stop. And then now there are a lot of herbal medications for piles and all that. And in Africa, everything is cocoa. That's the how we call it. Everything is cocoa piles. When your eyes is itching, it is piles. When your feet is
Mm.
itching, it is piles, cocoa. So people are rushing to buy some medications for cocoa, and they are just taking it, without any um, rational attitude. And the worst part of it is herbal medicines are more recommended than the other medicines. So somebody will tell you, oh, individual way. I don't know if we cannot understand my tree, but somebody will tell you, oh, say individual way, yeah, oh, way, yeah, you know, it's really helped this person's condition. So you can also try it and just buy it. And because most herbal medicines are over the counter, like people just get it like that. And herbal medicines, they are not as refined as orthodox medicines. So you tend to take more. And for every medicine, as you take more, you are getting more of the side effects. So if you have to take more and it is not what is really prescribed or what the manufacturer is saying and you are just taking, you can imagine what you are doing doing to yourself. So we have to check how we use herbal medicine. Some people have even been asked to take some hypertensive medications. Let's say you go to the hospital, the doctor says, take this kind of medication for your hypertension. They will come back home. Somebody will tell them, oh, this herbal medicine is very good. They leave the medicine and go for the one that a friend is prescribing. And later on, their situation become worse. They go to the hospital, you ask them what happened. You said, oh, I stopped. Many people will do but it couldn't help. So it is not good to initiate medicines on our own. And I think herbal
Mm.
medicines, you really need assistance. You really need to talk to a health professional before you take them. And as you are taking them, you really have to monitor. Yes. And another class
Uh,
is sex enhancement drugs. Now, people are using a
Okay.
lot of medicines in order to help them perform. That's the term they use, in order to help them perform. So
Mm.
some drugs are not
Pressure.
even supposed to be uh, just sold like that, but patients will come demanding, they want it and all that. People are using sprays, and most of these people are even, let me say, the youth, yes, the young people trying to use sex enhancement drugs so that they can perform, so that they can punish a lady and all that, you know. And all this has have long-term effects. You grow up and then you'll be having all sorts of issues. So these are some of the classes of drugs that I really, really abuse. I know that as I'm saying, we may be remembering some certain drugs, yes, that we've
Mm.
seen people abuse. Mm.
Mm.
And I know even some
Yeah.
herbal medicines which are, we call it adulterated, or let me say, I don't want to say contaminated, but they say it's herbal medicine. But they've added some of the orthodox medicines to it to give you certain effects. So you really have to be careful when you think you are taking some medication which is not prescribed for you and it's really working well for you. You have to be careful. I want to quickly
Mm.
add this too. Now on Instagram, a whole lot of medications are being sold. The ones that can charm a man for you, the ones that you have to drink so that you look more beautiful, the ones that will help you become
For
fairer.
boys.
Yes, all these medications, and we don't even know, we at FD, we don't even know where they come from, but they are in the country. And when you advise people to stay away from, because they think they are getting results, they just want to
Mm.
use it and they will even be fighting you. So we have to be careful when we are using some medications which are not prescribed or which were not given to us by health workers, and we think we are getting far, far better results. We have to be careful because we might be
Mm.
taking something else.
some of your comments are really knocking some quarters. Paulo is saying, punish a lady. How?
Oh yes.
I didn't
Oh,
understand that. Too. There's a question here for you. Please, is it right? Faustina is asking, is it right for women to take blood tonic every month after menstruation? Some women say it's the ideal thing to do.
yeah, I've heard that too, but me, I've never taken a blood tonic after my menstruation. I know some people do it, but I don't know whether they have, they've been told that they are anemic. You know, some people have this condition that they I don't want to say naturally, but they have a condition of low um, blood count. Yeah, red blood cells
Mm,
count. So maybe it has been um, prescribed for them to take after their menses. And sometimes, you know, some blood tonics are just supplements. Some are not, some do not really treat anemia. So if I think I need a supplement, a blood supplement or something like and just go in and in. Yes, those ones, the amount of iron, amount of folic acid, amount of all the some of the active ingredients are not so high, so you can just take them as supplements. But I don't think you really need to take a blood tonic after your menstrual period. No, I don't think so. But if you think you
mm,
need a blood supplement, you can go. You can talk to the pharmacist whoever is there, so that you, you arrive at a better conclusion. But I don't think it is what should be done. It's just like some people take laxatives after taking dewormers. They think that they've killed the worms, so now they have to push them out. So they will take laxatives. That how should I say, that practice has been done um, for so many years that it was even captured in one of our pharmaceutical books, BNF, that it is done, but it is not mandatory. It is not something that needs to be done at all costs. Yes. So I don't think you need to take blood tonic after, unless you have a special condition.
mm. Thank you very much, Mrs. Amokwe. Tonight we have Mrs. Evelyn Amokwe, a pharmacist, educating us on the rational use of drugs. I have a comment from Facebook. Faustina Ya Owusua says that she will also suggest that pharmacists should state the right time instead of saying take it morning, afternoon, and evening. It does affect the effectiveness of the drug. And they need to state if one is supposed to take it with or without meals or on empty stomach. All these, if stated, can affect how the drug works. It's supposed to be 6 a.m. in the morning, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and 10 p.m. in the evening, for instance. If that is stated, it really helps to make the drug more and more effective. We have more messages, so okay. Marianne says that she has a question she would want to ask you. So maybe when we are done with the show, um, then we can connect the two of you, and then you can see how best you can help her. Paulo, I see your hand is raised. Kindly unmute yourself and let's hear you.
Yeah, hi, good evening.
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
Paulo.
Our dear pharmacist, thank you so much for those insights. Rational use of drug is very important. And I have a question. I need some help. Maybe she can help me. I would like to know, for example, in my case, when I'm unwell and I'm not feeling that well, I tend to go to the hospital, to go and check what is wrong with me. But then when I get there, the doctor prescribes the drugs, and now when I'm home, I kind of, I'm not. Maybe it's a psychological thing. I not regular with the drug. When I start, it's not like I don't want to take the drugs. I actually want to, but and sometimes I miss. Maybe I have to take it 3 times a day. I end up taking it twice. Like maybe I don't know if she can help me in some ways. It's not like I do it on purpose. And yeah,
Okay, Paulo, what I can say is, taking medicine should be very intentional. Taking medication should be very intentional because we intentionally go to the hospital and we intentionally want to get well. It is what we want to achieve. So I think taking medication should also be very, very intentional. I don't think it's really a problem. It is just that maybe you have not really committed much to completing or having it at the back of your mind that I want to finish this medication. So maybe next time you just challenge yourself that I'm going to finish it, and you remember that you want to finish it because you want to get well. You don't want drug resistance. You don't want to, you don't want to use drugs irrationally. I think now you have to challenge yourself with what we have heard today, you know. And what I want you to know is taking medications is not very nice. I think all of us have that issue of, trying to complete medications. It's not it's not really a pleasant thing to be taking medications or that, but you have to try because of a goal you want to achieve, that is getting well. Because it is um, going back to the same disease because you've not been completing your medications is worse than trying to take your medication. So if you think you forget, maybe you can, if you have somebody who can remind you, you can do that. You can set an alarm on your phone to remind you to take the medications. Or if you go to work, you can put it in your bag so that when it's time, you can take it at work. I think the alarm and all those things can help. You know, it's just not nice. That's why it seems difficult. I don't think it's really a problem, but we just have to do more. Yes. I don't know if my response is
yeah.
helpful.
Thank you,
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you
thank you.
very
I'll try.
much. For me, I heard that it sounded to me like confession. But Mrs. Amukwe, what would be the consequence? What is the effect if I misuse drugs, if I abuse drugs, irrational use of drugs? What could be the effect or the impact it could have on me?
Okay, so I've already mentioned one of it, which is drug resistance.
Okay.
Or it usually happens with antibiotics. So we've termed it antibiotic resistance. Yes,
Mm.
because antibiotics should be taken for a specified period for certain infections. If you are not able to complete it, example of antibiotics is because we all take it. I want to give example. So next time you are taking it, you know that this is what I'm talking about. When you, let's say you have sore throat, somebody will say just sore throat. Oh. It has not even, it's not even more painful yet. But I just went to the pharmacy and they said I should take amoxicillin, or let's say amoxicillin for 7 days. And you start taking it, let's say at day 3, and you think you are fine and you stop. What has been observed is that um, the bacteria which are causing the sore throat are able to, or can be able to, change the way they behave towards the medication because you didn't kill them. Taking the medication is aimed at destroying the bacteria or microorganisms that are causing it. But because you didn't take it um, till that period of time to kill them, they are able to know how the drug works and readjust or reorganize themselves, produce certain things, certain chemicals that will now fight against the medication. So you go back to it another time and you don't even get results at day 3. When it happens like that, it means you are developing resistance. Another example is chloroquine. We know that before chloroquine was used in treating malaria. All of a sudden they said chloroquine is gone. It's not just because it was itchy, because it had that side effects of you feeling itchiness all over your body, but chloroquine was not able to tackle malaria for us as it used to. So we had to bring in another medicine, So and this was because we were not taking it right because of the side effects and all that. We take it, we think it's too taking it is too difficult. So I just stopped. And the parasites were able to find their own ways of fighting against chloroquine, such that when you take it, you don't get better. And so we had to all move to another drug, which you are not taking, which is artemether lumefantrine. So I can be giving amoxicillin for sore throat. Somebody else can also be given amoxicillin for sore throat. I can get well, but the other person may not get well. And this could be due to resistance, drug resistance. And the worst aspect of it is, as the microorganisms are getting resistance to the drug, it will not affect you alone as time goes on, because microorganisms, I can touch something, leave some microorganisms, I can cough, I can leave some and somebody can pick it and all that. We can end up having strains of microorganisms which are all resistant to amoxicillin. And we know that amoxicillin is the cheapest antibiotic that you can get. There are other ones which are very expensive. And as I said, in rational use of drugs, we want to use the one with the lowest cost, not the one with the highest cost that can achieve. So if amoxicillin is very good and it is cheap, almost everyone can afford it and it can treat our diseases. Why don't we protect it by taking it right, by preventing resistance of the drug to the microorganisms, so that we wouldn't have to spend so much on our medication. So in this, I'm even talking about two consequences here, which is um, the drug resistance and then cost, high purchase or high cost of medication, because now the cheaper one is not working anymore. So I have to pay more to get a higher brand, and that is not what we want. So that is two of the consequences. And then the other one is when I'm misusing drugs, let's say just this normal painkillers. As we know, or if we do not, every drug has a side effects and some even has adverse effects. The side effects are the ones that the manufacturer of the drug or the innovator, whoever brought the drug into being, knows that when you take this my medicine, you are likely to get headache, you are likely to feel sleepy. So that one we know. But there are some adverse effects that we do not know. So if I take paracetamol, I'm not supposed to be bleeding, and I take paracetamol and I bleed, it's an adverse effect. And because we are still we are now trying to identify some of the adverse effects. If you commit to taking some medications and abusing them, you might be exposing yourself to more adverse effects. And some of these can lead to death and other um, major health problems like kidney failure and other organ failures. Some people even die of adverse effects, and we don't even get to know that this was the cause because it's new. So we have to be careful how we take medications. And we also get addicted to some medications when we abuse them. And the popular one is Tramol or Tramadol that we all know. You see, the first time before tramadol was known to be abused and it was all over the news and all that, I think I was traveling, and in the bus, I saw a man selling painkiller. I think I was doing something on my phone. I wasn't focusing, and it had a brand name. The name wasn't tramadol, so I didn't know that was what the man was selling. So later on, I just lifted up my head and I saw tramadol. And I said, "Ah, is the man really selling tramadol? Because it is not a drug that you can just go and buy. Though it is a painkiller, because of its side effects, you can't just go and say I'm buying tramadol. It's a prescription drug." But this man was selling it just in the car. So I think uh, he started selling it. People got to know that, oh, when I take it, I get this feeling and it's good for me and all that. And now tramadol is a very good painkiller, though it has certain side effects. But now we know it's restricted and we know what it did to some people. Sometimes we are not happy that we are addicted to certain things. Sometimes we want to stop, but here you are, you find yourself in the web of this drug or this addiction, and it's you have to go through other practices to be able to get out of it, and it's not very nice. Yes. So I think these are some of the consequences of um, abusing drugs.
Thank you so very much. Where we are now, Michael D62 says, thank you very much, ICAD. God richly bless you for the education. I really appreciate you. Kudos. And this is to you as well, our speaker for tonight. I will give you the opportunity to give us your final words. So please prepare. Let me do some announcements and then we'll give you the opportunity for that. So if you are joining us for the first time, we have a community on Facebook, HiCard Community. Join that community as we have right now on Zoom. Some are watching with us on Facebook and some are part of this community that we share things to build ourselves and to encourage ourselves on this journey of life. We know that life is a journey of self-discovery, not a journey of self-judgment. So we do these teachings every Saturday, and you want to be part of this community. The name is HiCard Community on Facebook, HAICAD, and you are part of that community. And you can also interact with us on Instagram. HiCard is also on Instagram. We have a course that is out and it's open for registration. It's really a course that helps to build leadership competencies in people. We call it Emotional Intelligence 2, Proven Competencies for Leading Others. What are the skills? What are the emotional intelligence competencies that you need to be able to lead a team? What competencies do you need to be able to lead others, to influence others, to be able to achieve the results that you want to achieve? We'll be talking about how to build a capacity of your team using coaching and using mentoring. We will talk about different leadership styles that you can apply, you know, the directive style, the pace setting style, the coaching style, the visionary style, the participative style. You know, these are styles that will go into for you to identify which works best for you. We also talk about communication and how you can use your communication, tailoring it to the different personality types that we have. Your boss may be a different personality type. Your husband may be different. Your wife may be a different personality type. And you want to find out what is the best way to communicate and so be able to do that effectively. So this course is open for registration. We have told our friends that if you register from now until the Friday, 16th of October, you get a discount. That is an early bird discount that we are offering. The course is 300 Ghana cedis only. But if you register from now until 16th of October, you get to pay only 200 Ghana cedis to participate. We'll have 6 sessions in all. It'll be in the evenings on Zoom. In the cool of your home, anywhere you are in the world, you can connect with us because it's virtual. It's conducted on Zoom. We also connect on Facebook. We make available presentations and the recordings on Facebook as well. We will start the sessions on the 9th of November. 9th November, 11th November, 13th, 16th, 18th, and 20th of November. That is when we are running this wonderful course and you want to be part of it. If there's a way you want to register, you don't know how to register, we have a link that is on display. We have shared on various platforms. You can also reach me on WhatsApp 050-533-9076. And then we can work at getting you to register for the course. The number again is 050-533-9076. I have some of our students who joined the course earlier on with us. They can give you testimonies about the course. You want to be part of this course. Those of you who have experienced it, you also want to recommend it to others, you are free to do so. Get them to register. When they mention your name, then we know that yes, indeed, this particular participant was recommended by this our student. We would want to hear your final words, Mrs. EVELYN AMO-KOI, your final words. Wisdom says, wonderful presentation. God bless you. Did you say mean God bless you or God bless us? All right, so your final words and let's wrap up.
Okay, so I just want all of us to know there is a saying that every drug or medication can be a poison when not taken right. And we know that the manufacturers and the developers of medicines brought them in order for us to have solutions to our health problems. And because we don't want them to be poisons to us, or we don't want them to bring us more damage than good, let's commit to taking our medications right. Let's speak to our health professionals when we need to take medicines. Let's get all the clarifications. Let's worry our health professionals. They studied for us. So we have to really make use of them so that we take good care of ourselves. So this is what I would like to say. God bless you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. EVELYN AMO-KOI. Thank you for joining us for tonight's session, taking time out of your busy schedule, to be with us tonight. We are very grateful. I understand you are a wife, you are a student, you are also working, finishing up your master's and all that. It's a lot, but you've made time to come and share this knowledge with us. We are grateful. Please extend our appreciation to Mr. AMO-KOI for releasing you to us. I know you are in birthday mood, but he's been considerate of us and released you for us. We are grateful to him. Our greetings to him as well. And friends who have joined us, thank you very much for sticking and staying with us for tonight's session. We will come your way again next Saturday. Please spread the word, invite your friends to join our community, invite your friends to join us on these teachings. Catch you next Saturday, 8 p.m. sharp. Take care of yourself, take care of your family. Please be careful, observe the protocols, and be safe for us. Good night. God bless. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.